All right, we're live. What's going on? 44th installment of the Unplugged Alpha series. And I got a couple things for you guys tonight, starting with temporary marriages and a really messed up ghosting that I wanted to share with you because there's some lessons in this one. All lessons, man. All lessons. That's what I like to try to give you guys. Where's a lesson in this? That's what I always ask myself when somebody emails me stuff. So this was actually an email from a viewer. You guys send me stuff all the time, and I appreciate it. A lot of it I don't get to. A lot of it I just don't see a good fit. But there's some good stuff that pops in from time to time. And this was an article that was sent by a fella on temporary marriages making more sense than marriage for life. And believe it or not, there are actually tribes and native, indigenous peoples, let's say, where it's quite common to have temporary unions. And that makes sense, I guess, for different reasons. And I've said for a while, dudes, that, you know, see, the thing with the whole marriage, situation is it's the only contract that I'm aware of. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, the chat's open for you guys. But it's the only contract that I can think of where the other party is rewarded richly for breaking it. And is in fact not only rewarded richly, but is in many cases incentivized to break said contract. In my book, I have a chapter on why smart men don't marry. If you haven't seen it yet, grab it on Amazon. It's on Kindle Print and Audible. I narrated it myself. And there was a segment. Actually, let me see if I can grab it real quick, and I'll read it to you. But there's a segment in there that I took right out of a discussion point with one of my comments. Where is it? Smart men don't marry. I think it's in this chapter over here. There it is, 178. Man. I've gone through the audiobook quite a few times now, and I need to fix a few things in it, but I haven't actually read the print copy yet, so it's kind of cool to go through these. Where is it in here? I know I copied it in. Oh, you know what? I might have put it in another chapter. It's going to take me a while to dig it up. But basically, what the distilled version was there was a woman that was having a conversation with a coworker, and she was married, and they were comparing notes, as women do. They often like to, hey, what's your life like, Barbara? Well, Becky, let me tell you all about it, sort of thing. And they were sort of sizing up what their financial lives were like. So one's married, they're both working, and the other one is single, as a single mom. And the single mom in the state that she was located in was actually earning more than they actually created this hilarious acronym, DINKS, double income, no kids, was where it started. But then obviously, people started getting divorced, with kids. But they were comparing these notes, and the divorced lady with kids earning like exact same job, like both these ladies were doing the exact same job, so they were earning the same income. The divorced lady, getting assistance from the government and from her ex, was earning more than the married couple. So there's an actual incentive to leave a family union and break up the household, take the kids, have them the vast majority of the time, and you will be richly rewarded. You will be paid more at the end of the day, is what was discovered. And I break down the details in a book, so you'd have to go through it. I'm sure some of you watching know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was a big eye opener. And I've often said that, things like marriage, because you get rewarded for breaking that contract, and in many cases, depending on where you live, you're incentivized to do so. And you're incentivized to do so in such a way that it actually harms the father of your kids pretty drastically, if we're being honest. There's not a lot of guys that recover. Now, I had a conversation this afternoon with a bunch of guys in my group, and generally speaking, if you're well off to begin with and you're a smart guy, most guys after divorce end up with far more money once they just untie the knot, cut the ties, and pay their dues. They generally end up with far more money, but not everybody can achieve that level of success. So it's not something everybody can achieve. Again, there's a lot of guys I know that like go right down the rabbit hole of I'm never dealing with women again. I've learned my lesson. Hands are burned, and I'm in the camp where it's like, look, like women are awesome, they're fun, but I wouldn't recommend anybody to live in such a way that the state would view as a marriage. So if you're going to do anything like that, make sure you have a cohabitation agreement or some sort of legal contract governing yourself in case it has to untie, which it generally does. So let me read you this article here on temporary marriages, because I've often said that I think that these sorts of things should be like a car lease. You get together and you have maybe like a 5-year lease. This is like a Western thing, obviously. So, when I say Western, I'm not talking like Western cowboy, but like a Western thing, like in the West, where if you have to sign a marriage contract, it's something like a 5-year lease. So if it doesn't work out at the end of the 5 years, you can just drop off the vehicle, no further obligations, as long as there's no dents in the door or anything like that. There's no scratches you have to deal with, or what do they call it? Excessive wear and tear if you ever leased a vehicle. And then you just kind of move on to the next vehicle. So let me throw this up on a screen and we'll hop into this. Jerry says, I think they're all temporary, and they all are to some degree. Why is my bubble there? That's what I'm looking for. That's the one that I like. Things always are temporary to some degree. They always say that she's not yours, it's just your turn, right? It's funny they picked these two for the cover photo. If there's one guy that shouldn't have not married this crazy chick, it's definitely Brad Pitt. Speaking of crazy, I've got a ghosting after this, which is like biblical levels, and there's a lesson in it too. So we'll get to that next. This is a little bit of an older one. It says a temporary marriage makes more sense than a marriage for life. Most marriages end in resentment, and why should longevity be the sole marker of a successful marriage? So this isn't a very long article. It's actually pretty short. In November 1891, the British sexologist Havelock Ellis married the writer and lesbian Edith Lees. He was 32 and a virgin, and since he was impotent, they never consummated their union. After the honeymoon, the two lived separately in what he called an open marriage. The union lasted until Lee's death in 1916. This is not what most would consider a model marriage, but perhaps because of its unusualness, Ellis was able to introduce the idea that remains as radical and tantalizing today as it was in his time: trial marriages, in which he envisioned couples exploring a temporary union of varying levels of commitment that allowed them to have sex, access birth control, and have an easy divorce if desired, as long as no children were involved. That's where stuff gets complicated, right? For the most part, you can just untie the knot, give her half your stuff. Like if you've been married long enough, a prenup's not really going to work. I mean, but generally speaking, if you don't have kids, she should stay employed and not quit her job. This is like a frame thing that we can talk about another time, but you get the point. Children void. The idea captured the minds of many progressives, including the British philosopher Bertrand Russell and the Denver judge and social reformer Ben B. Lindsay, who embraced the new economic and cultural freedoms of the post-Victorian era. While Ellis gave this type of temporary marriage a name, others had been talking about similar unions years before, including the German poet Johann von Goethe, I'm pronouncing that wrong obviously, who entertained the idea of his elective affinities in 1809, and the American paleontologist E.D. Cope, who wrote his book The Marriage Problem in 1888. In 1888, they're writing books about marriage problems. Could you imagine taking this dude from 1888, put him in a time machine and bring him over here today and let him see what marriages look like today? Just marinate on that for a second. And he's writing a book in 1888 called The Marriage Problem. I wonder what problems he was talking about at that time. That marriages should start with a 5-year contract. Sure, 5-year lease, same thing, right? That either spouse could end or renew with a further 10 to 15-year contract, and if all still went after that, a permanent contract. In 1888, they're dealing with basically car leases in marriages back then. That's interesting. In 1966, the American anthropologist Margaret Mead suggested a 2-step version of marriage, an individual commitment that would fit college students of limited means and could easily be dissolved or else converted into a parental commitment if they are ready and willing to take on the obligations of children. In 1971, the Maryland legislator Lena King Lee proposed a marriage contractual renewable bill so couples could annul or renew their marriage every 3 years. That's an interesting concept. In 2007, a German legislator proposed a 7-year contract. In 2010, a women's group in the Philippines proposed a 10-year marital contract. That's interesting because Philippines is a very conventional religious country. They don't generally believe in divorce, if I'm not mistaken, of the Filipinos that I know. And in 2011, Mexico City legislators suggested a reform to the civil code that would allow couples to decide on the length of their marital commitment with a minimum of 2 years. Well, it gives you a chance to, take it for a trial run, I guess, if that's what you're looking at. Anyway, clearly lifelong marriages was due for an overhaul, despite, I don't think marriages were lifelong only until recent history. There's a book by Stephanie Kuntz, A History of Marriage. I've mentioned it before, and I reference it in my book as well. And marriage has never been about love or any of those things. It's always been about the acquisition of in-laws. And there was divorces for hundreds of years, or whatever you would have called them, hundreds or thousands of years, whether it's the idea of a divorce as it's known today, but unions would break up often, and they would have to deal with the assets, the kids, and stuff like that. And more often than not, the father actually maintained custody of the children, especially when they were a little bit older, 100% of the time. And a lot of these moms had to go back to their family, or they ended up working in a brothel or something like that. Despite all the talk, however, no laws were ever passed, and the idea of renewable marriages remained just that, an idea. But temporary marriage, see, I don't think that this would ever become anything. And I'll tell you why. Because we live in a female-first primary social order, and everything in law, in society, is built around the notion that we have to protect, women. Like, men are disposable. Men are the disposable sex. Women are the protected sex. So the reason why we've got to where we are today, where we have family legislation in almost all Western countries that is not particularly friendly to men or fathers, especially fathers more so than just men, is to protect the female first primary social order. Even though, it shouldn't need any said protecting because, women's so strong and independent today, right? Anyway, but temporary marriages have been actually been successful practice for centuries among Peruvian Indians in the Andes, in 15th century Indonesia and ancient Japan, where the Islamic world and elsewhere. And it appears that we might be ready to put them in practice again. All right, let's see what they want to say here. In a recent survey, many millennials indicated they would be open to a beta marriage in which couples, I don't think that means like alpha or beta, it's like a trial, in which couples would commit to each other for a certain number of years. 2 years seemed to be the right amount, after which they would renegotiate or split, as Jessica Bennett wrote in Time magazine last year. While it wasn't a scientific survey, it points to a willingness to see marriages as something other than until death, which in fact it is not. In 2013, 40% of newlyweds had been married at least once before. I can't believe people do this like 2-3 times around. It's comical, because when you look at the stats, first-time marriage is 50% failure rate. Of the ones that stay together, only 13% in total indicate that they're still in love, and 3%, I believe it is, indicate that they're still in a state of bliss. So the vast majority of those that stay married are unhappily married, probably because they don't have better options, or they're too gross, or they don't have the money to split up, or I don't know, they're too plugged in, or whatever it happens to be. And then after that, if they go and get remarried, every time you get remarried after that, the percentage, the chances of a divorce increase dramatically. I think first time it's 50, second time is 70, third time is definitely more than 70. I think it's 80 something percent. But anyway, people are going back and forth. So 40% of newlyweds had been married at least once before, according to the U.S. think tank, the Pew Research Center. Since 10% of first marriages don't even make it past 5 years, 10% of first don't even make it past, well, I was not 10%. A renewable marriage contract makes more sense than ever. Our current contract until death might have worked when people didn't live all that long. According to American sociologist and author Stephanie Kuntz, there she is. Great book, by the way. Marriage: A History is what the title of the book is. The average marriage in colonial times lasted under 12 years. What was colonial times? Let me just do a quick Google search on what era that was. Colonial times. Prior to 1972. That's not that. Yeah. Early 17th century. During the 17th and 18th century. Okay, so that's what that was. Temporary. Let's go back here to stream. Till death, colonial times, under 12 years. So 12 years was a typical marriage length about 300 years ago. Or when many women died in childbirth, freeing men to marry multiple times, which they did, of course. And when men of means needed women to cook, clean, and caretake, and women needed men for financial security. Yeah, so this is an interesting point because this was a time, when men of means, so if you had financial resources, you would often have, your woman stay home, cook, clean, and caretake, basically be a homemaker, which, interestingly is, like the toxic feminists hate that. Like, why do anything for the express pleasure of men when you don't need no man and you should just go out and get a career and a degree and don't have kids and sort of stuff like that. And that's why we've got a bit of a messy world today because of that notion. And in some cases, men of means even had multiple women cook, clean, and caretake for the children in the household, while men provided financial security. The interesting thing is women don't need no man today, but everything in family law is written in such a way that it ensures her financial security today still. So she has freedom, but still has the benefits of financial security from the dude. But that isn't why we marry nowadays. Still, we congratulate couples on their anniversaries and get nostalgic as the years add up, 15, 25, 50, 75 years, and as the years of wedding bliss, not always. Many long-term marriages are loveless and sexless. As I pointed out earlier, again, what was it? 13% are in a state of where they still love each other, and only 3% are in a state of bliss. And like the whole notion of a wedding, of a marriage, is basically sold to people. I think younger people for sure, especially if they spend a lot of time watching Disney and all the crap that the plugged-in media wanted you to believe in, was that you would be in a state of bliss. Just go get married. She'll love you forever. She'll enthusiastically want to jump your bones every day, sort of thing. But the reality of that is it's not true. The most popular Google search for men today is, how do I get my wife? Here, actually, let's go through that exercise because I shared this earlier a week or so ago. How do I get my wife? Oh, here, let me put it up on the screen for you. Add to stream. Let's go a little bit bigger for you. How do I get my wife? Okay, so these are the recommended solutions to this search. How do I get my wife to fall in love with me again? How do I get my wife to love me again? How do I get my wife to lose weight? How do I get my wife to be more adventurously sexually? How do I get my wife to trust me? How do I get my wife back? Forgive me, respect me on the house deed. The main ones seem to, here, let's put 2 after wife. 2. To fall in love with me again, to lose weight, to be more adventurous sexually, to trust me, forgive me, respect me, stop snoring. Yeah, they don't seem to be particularly aligned with the notion of what, we're sold, for marriage, right? Anyway, but that isn't why we marry nowadays. Wedding bliss, not always. Many long-term marriages are loveless and sexless. Yeah, okay. Well, we can see by the Google searches what what dudes are looking for. I wonder what women search for. Let me just, how do I get my husband? Here, let's reverse that. How do I get my... oh, hang on. How do I get my husband to? And let's add to stream. Oh, hang on. So how do I get my husband, hang on, not to love me again. Let's just put 2. How do I get my husband to love me again? Talk about his feelings. Don't follow any of that. Talk about his feelings, love language bullshit, guys. How do I get my husband to move out? How do I get my husband to help around the house, to pay attention to me? As we know, for women, attention is the coin of the realm for them. That's what they're interested in. How do I get my husband to leave? How do I get my husband to leave my house? I don't know, but for the most part, whenever I talk to couples, it always seems like the dude is paying for the house. So here we have, how do I get my husband to leave my house? Anyway, how do I get my husband to exercise, fall in love with me again? There's not a lot of, indications there that there's warm fuzziness, and it's tied in the same problems dudes have. And sometimes full of anger and resentment, but if they make it until a spouse dies, success. Anyway, this is almost over. Longevity alone shouldn't be the marker of a happy, healthy marriage. Rather than staying in marriages until death, renewable marriages should allow partners to tweak their marriage contract accordingly, or agree. Could you imagine, like, after 3 years, you're like, you know what? I think we want to, tweak this arrangement because I'm not getting Hummers anymore, and she's put on a little bit too much weight, and then she comes at you with, oh, he needs to pay for this, or he needs to do more of this around the house or something like that. Then you're getting down to the point of negotiating desire, which only leads to resentment down the road. Turns into a train wreck. Tweak their marital contracts, or agree that it's beyond tweaking and end it without a shock or drama of a contentious divorce or lingering doubts about what went wrong. And as the late Nobel Prize-winning economist Gary S. Becker noted, if every couple had to personalize their marital contract based on what they consider important, there would be no more societal stigma of judgment over what is essentially private decisions. If society is truly concerned about the decline in marriage, perhaps it's time to rethink until death. It's not to rethink. See, I'll tell you what the solution is here, guys. It's not to rethink until death or, putting in terms. That would just give a guy an out in case things go sideways, in case, she blimps up and, packs on maximum density, in case she turns into a psychopath and you can't untie the knot unless you go through you got to jump through all the hoops to make that sort of thing happen. Like, it would have some benefit to men, generally speaking. But honestly, if you want to see an increase or an incline in marriages, have women, return to more feminine roles, men, return to more masculine roles. Stop trying to feminize men. Stop trying to masculinize women. Men lead. Men have authority of the household. That's another big part too. Is for since the dawn of time, basically, when men and women were getting together and having kids and forming families and doing all this stuff, was men were always at the head of the household. They always had the authority. They had responsibility to the family to protect, provide, feed, fight off the saber-toothed tigers and all that stuff. But along with those responsibilities came the authority to make decisions and to make calls. Today, men don't have authority anymore. So you want to see an improvement in marriage rates and, like anything that ties into that, stop the pussification of the West is what it boils down to. But nobody wants to hear that. It's like, oh, that's misogyny. That's you just want to go back in a time machine. I don't care. You could do whatever you want. It really doesn't affect me because I've structured my life in such a way that I avoid these nightmares. And you can too. I mean, I talk a lot about that in my book, obviously, and a lot of these other podcast episodes. But you get the point. Anyway, and grooms to be truly want to be happy, then it's time for them to take responsibility for defining their goals and expectations in a renewable contract and stating out loud on paper, I choose you again as often as they mean it. How about all the ladies get together and take off their pink pussy hats and go down to Parliament Hill and start marching on bureaucrats and policymakers and letting them know that the guys that they love, that they want to be with, that they want to have their babies, are not marrying them because of hostile family laws. And to at least start with making family law more balanced. Looks like Vicky Larson is the author of this one. Anyway, let's see what we got here in the chat with the super chats and stuff. I see you guys are busy there chopping up a storm. Zach says, hey, Rich, on a TUA playlist, you forgot to add number 37. Almost missed it. Just want to let you know for max views. Thanks. Yeah, I think I might have had to either relabel one or maybe there was one I had to update. I'm not sure, but I'll have a look. Number 37. Chris Moff's in the chat with Jaron. So Sam says, hey, Rich, do you think solo weddings will become mainstream? They're already pretty mainstream right now. So let me show you what Sam's talking about here. Let me just pull up an article because I'm sure one will come up. Woman marries herself. I don't see guys doing this. I only see women do this. Like, this is how narcissistic they are. Add to stream. And this is actually a hilarious title. Look at this chick. She's got the tats, the tailor-made titties right off the shelf with the tan line coming out the top and everything with the flowers. So it says, model Chris... I'll close this. It says, model Chris married herself back in September of this year. Woman who married herself is now divorcing herself after meeting someone else. Oh, could you, imagine marrying yourself, taking pictures like this of your solo wedding, and then divorcing yourself because you're not happy with yourself because you found someone else. Anyway, I'm not going to read that article. You guys can pull up stuff like that and dig it up, but there's loads of examples of women marrying themselves. Let me see if there's any of men marrying themselves. I don't think that exists. Let's see here. Just replace woman with man. Let's see what comes up. No, actually, it does happen. Man marries himself after fiance breaks up with him. Brazilian man marries himself after fiance breaks off. Man marries himself after fiance breaks. Oh, this is all the same guy. No, it's not as common as women. When you do the woman search, there's way more that show up. But yeah, it looks like some of these beta-ass dudes do it too. Kingsley says, in the UK, it is seen weird being like me as a 27-year-old man with investments, and a lot of people see it. To a lot of people, it seems absurd to not want that normal life. Well, it's not a normal life anymore. It's, you know, for most guys, as you can tell by the Google search recommendations, it's a life of sexlessness, being annoying, you know, being annoyed, frustration. And it's not just him too. I mean, like, she's frustrated too with a lot of stuff. And it's just the way that society has constructed unions today. It makes it very, very difficult. And there's no quick and easy solution. Like, I see a lot of TradCon guys out there that are like preaching, well, join this church or join that church, or this religion's better than that religion, or our culture's better than that. You know, we solve all these problems. And I haven't seen, you know, much in the way of big time solutions with all that, if I'm being honest. I think the closest I've seen is probably Islam. I think Islam probably has the best modern day solution that's probably working right now. But yeah, you still get a little bit of a side eye, as Kingsley mentioned, from family and friends as you get older and you don't, you know, settle down and commit to a chick. So if you're out there enjoying yourself, it's almost, you know, I've often said, you know, it's almost like, you know, misery wants company. And, you know, you see all these miserable couples and, you know, marriages, and it's like, well, you should go do the same thing too, get married, right? You know, because they want somebody else to, like, you know, hang out with and be part of that narrative. Anyway, I wanted to do one more thing before I take some Q&A call-ins, which I will do. There is a very interesting ghosting I came across last week, which I can play. I got to throw in a headphone here so I can listen along with you guys. But let's pull this up here. All right. I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat? Let's throw a quick little poll here. How do I do the pop-out manager? No, there we go. There's poll. Are term marriages the solution? Let's see what you guys have to do. I mean, you're probably going to add an option, ask your community. All right, so there you go. And can I pin that up at the top? Come on, YouTube, cooperate. Anyway, it's up there. So just take that poll real quick. Okay, so let's go to my ghosting for this week, which is, you're going to see crazy. You know, we talk about crazy from time to time. We got some crazy here for you, fellas. Okay, so let's remove this, and I got to share with audio. Chrome tab. Boom. Tab audio. Okay. Oh, okay, so let's get some volume here and speed it up so we don't have to take the whole 6 minutes. And here we go, guys. This is there'll be a lesson in this one. You ready? Let's do this. And if you can't hear, just let me know in the chat, but I believe it should be working.
The time you said you would. I have a busy day today, so I have to stay on schedule.
Yeah, well, that's because we have a very organized producer, because the three of us are definitely not that organized.
Two of you guys aren't.
So let's talk about, so we're not interfering with your busy schedule. Let's talk about this guy, Noah. How did you guys meet? What's the deal?
So we kind of met online at one of the dating apps, but we've been going out a bit, and now he won't get back to me. And his name's Noah. It's been 7 days, today being the 8th. And at this point, I have to assume that he's trying to ghost me, and I just want to know why.
Okay.
Okay.
And is there any, I mean, yeah, a week, that's definitely a ghosting. Mm-hmm. Did you guys get into a fight or anything? Like, was there anything that went wrong?
Any weird vibes? Yeah.
No, like, we just got back from a trip to New York City, which coincidentally, okay, so that was the day. Since we got back from New York City, he has stopped responding to me.
Okay, so something clearly happened in New York.
Maybe he didn't travel. He was supposed to call me at 8:30 in the morning the following day to reflect on the trip, and then that call never came.
I love a good recap call.
No, it's a reflection.
So You notice she's saying he was supposed to call me at 8:30 in the morning to reflect on that trip, and the call never came. She also mentioned, I don't know if you guys caught it at the start, but she's like, oh, I'm so glad you guys called me at the scheduled time because I have a busy day today. Listen to this dude when he feeds back.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to call Noah next and have you listening on the phone. Do you think you can stay quiet for us?
Yes.
Awesome.
And people wonder why
Hey,
dudes
it's
don't
ghosted.
want to get married today.
And if you're not familiar with ghosted, it's when people have other people disappear on them, and then they call us, and then we have to make the call to see why. And Amelia, that's you with this guy Noah. And the crazy thing is, you guys just got back from New York on a trip, and he hasn't called you since.
Exactly.
Okay. Now it's been how many days?
This is date number 8.
Day number 8.
Is he
And
okay?
he missed an appointment. He had an appointed call. What were you guys going to talk about?
We were going to talk about our trip to New York. We had such a good time. We did like everything that I had on the itinerary. Everything was going great, and now I haven't heard from them.
Everything that she had on the itinerary. Just pointing that out. Just pay attention here.
Okay. All right. And there's no fights, no disagreements.
No awkwardness, no
No, I
tension.
thought we had a good time.
Because all signs point to something happening on that trip.
Yeah, it does say, okay, all right, so, all right, well, why don't we just do this? We're going to call him, you're going to be laying on the phone, you got to be silent, but here's the thing. Sometimes the answers can be pretty damn harsh. Are you sure you want to hear what he has to say?
Yes. I think.
You think? Yeah, how
We
sure
got
can you
you.
be? All right, so let's give Noah a call.
Hello?
Hi there, looking for Noah.
This is him. Who is this?
Noah, it's Adam Wild, TJ, and Jax from 99.9 Good Virgin Radio. Good morning. Hi.
Oh, hey, what's up, Virgin Radio?
How's it going, man? Things good?
Yeah, pretty good. How are you?
Good. How was New York?
It was good.
Okay. Just just wondering why you haven't reached out to Amelia since you guys went to New York together. You can see how that would be weird that you would go on a trip with somebody and then never talk to them again.
Oh yeah. I realized something about Amelia, and I think I saw it coming, but wasn't super sure.
Do you want to tell us what that was?
A discovery.
Yeah. She's a control freak, right? Like, my life was basically turning into one big schedule, and, I just couldn't handle it. It was kind of cute when we first started dating. She would, plan everything out and write it all down, which, it made things refreshing because I didn't have to worry about coming up with stuff. But, she carries around this little grid with a pen and crosses off every activity we do once we're done. And, while it was, like, cute and endearing at first, it kind of started to get old. And when we came back from New York, man, like, if one thing was out of schedule while we were there, even by minutes, she was not happy.
It's bossy.
Can you give us an example?
Well, we were having dinner, and she just went off on a waiter for taking just a few extra minutes to bring out her food. She was super nervous. We were going to be late for this Broadway show that we had plenty of time for. Or like when I suggested, adding an extra 15 minutes for sleep than what she had penciled in, she just absolutely lost her shit. Which told me, pretty early on, if we were off schedule at any point, this trip would be a nightmare. So, I just sucked it up until I got home.
Doesn't sound like fun.
Am I the only one who loves an itinerary?
Like that hard?
I dated a girl that was very, very type A, and it was awesome. I loved it.
Down to like sleep schedule.
Yep.
Listen, I think it's only fair.
Tell me what to do. No, I just want to say, tell me what to do.
Okay.
I love it.
TJ likes to be bossed around.
Yeah.
I think it's only fair.
TJ is a big ass
Don't you guys
boy
think?
male.
Yeah. Okay. So, no, Amelia has been listening the entire time. She's on the line.
Oh, great.
Sorry, Amelia. What's your rebuttal to
Check
this,
this
if there
out.
is one?
Good morning, Noah. Nice to know that you still exist. So you're upset that I'm organized?
Hi, Amelia. I'm sorry, but the whole world cannot revolve around your stupid grid, right? Like, you scheduling our breakup call was when I had to end it. So when we got back, I told her, hey, I'll call you when I get home. And then she pulls out her schedule, like, I don't have that in the schedule. You can call tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning.
No, that's too
and that's
much.
when I was just like, nah, done.
Well, I did not see this coming.
Are you writing?
What are you writing?
Yeah, what are you putting?
She's writing a new grid. That's exactly what she's doing, which is something I would love to
Okay.
just take and shred to pieces.
Everybody has their thing. Everybody has
yeah.
their thing.
So I'm gonna.
But my grade in my life no longer reference you. Virgin, the time I allotted for this call has gone past 5 minutes, so I have to go now. But
okay.
Sounds
thank
like
you for your efforts.
all right.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
both.
The time that I allotted for this call is done now, so I have to go, she says. Captain Organized. Holy smokes. You ever dated a chick like that? Why would you even take a trip with her? I guess he didn't have anything else better going on, so he was like, yeah, let's do this trip. Oh man. All right, let's see here. No, remove. And that's the Virgin Radio. Close that. And oh, you guys want to see something interesting here? I started this YouTube channel May 23rd, 2014. That was about 8 years ago today. And let's see here. Here's my very first video. Let me share this up on the screen. So boom. So this is the very first one. My buddy Brad and his 2011 Dodge Ram, and we're driving back after doing some mountain biking from a men's retreat. Look at the color of my beard in that picture. Look how much I've aged for you guys, delivering all this information. What's it been? 125 million views, over 1,200 videos, 190 countries have watched this, and yeah, I'm not stopping anytime soon. So I think by the time I'm done with YouTube, my entire beard will be entirely gray. As you see, it's accelerated nicely there. But yeah, happy 8th year anniversary to the channel, by the way, guys. All right, so let's do this. Let's get the here we go, invite link, copy and drop that in the live chat and get you guys to come on in and ask your questions. So open Q&A, ask me anything. And it looks like you guys in the poll up there. Term marriages solutions. No. Yep, I agree. Ask me anything. Okay, so here's the link. It's a StreamYard link. Make sure you hop on. Where did it go? Oh, come on, for crying out loud. Come on. Invite, copy. Let's try this again. Open. Ask me anything. Okay, here you go. Let's try this link again. Boom. Okay, let me pin that up to the top, and you guys can get yourself queued up. And while you're getting queued up to come on in and ask questions, let me just run this quick ad reel for 2 minutes, and then we'll get to the Q&A. This episode is brought to you by the Unplugged Alpha supplement line, Grondike Soap Company, and Chad's Face Scrub. Brothers, if you're like me and you take what you put in your body seriously, you'll want to use the Unplugged Alpha supplement line. An obsession with absorption is what sets this line apart from the others. You want to make sure you absorb as much of the supplements as possible so you don't end up peeing out expensive urine. My supplement line is made in the United States from the highest quality domestic ingredients, and unlike cheap supplements from China and plastic bottles, mine ship in dark glass bottles to keep your supplements fresher, longer, and won't seep endocrine disrupting plastics into your supplements. Nothing is a hard tablet. Everything is an easily digested bioavailable capsule. You can filter all products by their various categories, including testosterone support, estrogen metabolism, fat burning, immune health, sleep support, and performance. Visit theunpluggedalpha.com/shop and use the subscribe and save option to get 10% off your supplement orders, or just use coupon code ALPHA10 for 10% off a one-time order to try it out. Men, I use Tactical Soap and God of War beard oil every day. Tactical Soap is a handmade product made in the United States from ingredients you can actually pronounce, not conventional endocrine-lowering toiletry chemicals. Both the soap and beard oils are infused with bioidentical pheromones that are designed by a clinical psychologist and pheromone expert to maximize attractiveness to the opposite sex. Visit coopersoap.com and get 10% off your order today. Gentlemen, my go-to face scrub to keep this manly face clean and clear is Chad's. Again, it's incredibly important to me to only use products with all natural ingredients without nasty chemicals that disrupt male hormone levels or convert to estrogen in your body. And unlike watery scrubs that slip between your fingers, this thick face scrub with black lava sand gives you powerful results in one go. Visit getchads.com and you'll be redirected to the Amazon store. You'll get 10% off when you use coupon code GETCHADS10. You can find all the links I've just mentioned pinned below in the top YouTube comment. If you want to learn more about why I endorse these natural products to my audience, search on my YouTube channel for an episode I did with Dr. Anthony J titled Playing to Win number 21, How Estrogenics Make You Fat, Sick, and Infertile with Dr. Anthony J. Let's get on with the show. All right, and we're back. Thanks for checking that out. Again, if you guys have enjoyed the podcast and stuff I'm doing on my channel, supplements are just over my shoulder. We're actually adding a sleep supplement. I know the image has been updated to the website today, but the label and everything still has to get cleaned up, and the shelves need to get stocked for it. But that'll be available hopefully in the next week or two. So I'll have some updates for you on that. It's an awesome sleep supplement. It really helps. Kingsley's got another super here. He says, I agree with you that Islam has it right. I think that Western society is collapsing. I'm interested in your opinion. There's really not much else to say. I mean, like, you know, what can you... I don't see very many people that get it right when it comes to, you know, raising good families, you know, putting the kids first. Just overall, you know, I hate to sound like my dad, but it's like, you know, times were better. And I don't know, like it just seems like the older you get, the more you hear from, you know, your elders that times were better and they didn't have to deal with certain things. They didn't have certain luxuries like we have today, like electric cars you can charge in your house and mobile phones you can call for help pretty much anywhere as long as you have access to a tower, obviously. But yeah, I mean, as far as it goes, I don't see any other culture that seems to have it perfectly right. And I've looked around, guys, I pay a lot of attention to history. I'm a big military guy. You know, I've spent hundreds of hours reading books and watching documentaries on all these things. And it just seems like Islam's the only place that really has it sort of, you know, sorted out right. I don't live it. I have some friends that do, but they seem to have figured out, you know, most of the crap. And there's, you know, there's roles, right? A buddy of mine, Pete, he says, you know, there's like pink jobs and there's blue jobs. And he goes, around my house, I do the blue jobs, she does the pink jobs, sort of thing. So there's some, you know, small pockets where it can tend to work, but it is what it is, right? Let's see what we got here. So we got a few people in the waiting area. Again, guys, if you want to ask a question, just pinned at the top there, it says open Q&A. Ask me anything with the StreamYard link. You can hop in and bring your questions. Zach is, let me put Zach in here first and see what he's got for us. What do you got for us, buddy?
Yeah, hi. So thank you for your content, all that, blah, blah, blah. I have to go into work real fast. I'll be fast about this.
Okay.
So given the fact that you're saying that relationships should probably be temporary, or on average they're going to be temporary, how attached to a woman should you allow yourself to become, in your opinion?
Okay, well, there's a few different things there. So I didn't say that I think, you know, relationships should be temporary. It's just an observation that they generally are temporary, right? So, you know, it's why you hear a lot of these guys say that, you know, she's not yours, it's just your turn, sort of thing. So having taken that into consideration, human beings are not lifelong monogamous pair bonders. We're just not. Even in, you know, historical parts where 100 years ago there was no social media and it was socially enforced to be, you know, like husband and wife till death do us part, they still went outside of the marriage, right? Like, you know, men would cheat, women would be, you know, would betray, and, you know, all those things still existed back then. There was just no things like Instagram and social media to amplify it, or dating apps to make it easier. So there's that part of it. So the last part of your question is, how should you handle that?
Yeah, like, just given the fact that the majority of relationships are going to be temporary,
Mm-hmm.
how attached as a man do you think you should allow yourself to become to a woman? Because obviously you can't be completely disattached from her, but you also can't become like a simp that's like what has one-itis.
Yeah, got it. And, you know, for the most part, younger guys don't have the fortitude to deal with that. Yep. It's mostly younger guys that really struggle with that. And it's like, you know, they have the one-itis, they have the soulmate myth. They, you know, they see a hot girl and, you know, she touches his pee-pee and she's a unicorn sort of thing. And, you know, he wants to marry her and date her and, you know, make her his girlfriend within like the first 2 dates sort of stuff. You just have to understand, you know, relationships for what they are, which is a lot of the stuff that I talk about in my book. I don't know if you've read my book.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So
review.
Yeah, like one of the thank you. One of the parts that I talk about in there is like, you know, when a woman says something to you like, I love you, Zach, then you have to in your head add what to it?
For now?
Right now. right? So whenever a woman says that she has a feeling right now, then you add to it in your head right now, because a woman always reserves the right to change her mind at any given time. So when you understand female nature, it'll help you. I'm not saying it's going to solve the one-itis. I'm not saying that you're never going to like have your heart broken or have an unhealthy attachment to a chick in the future. It's probably going to happen. Even if you are red pilled and you understand you've unplugged from all the bullshit and all that sort of stuff, it's probably going to happen at some point. I mean, you catch the feelings for her, you catch the fifis, and, she does all the cool stuff that you like. I mean, it works out for a while, and then it doesn't work out for a while. And then you're left hanging. And women have always had an easier time at moving from guy to guy. They're expert mate switchers. There's studies, I don't have it here in the corner of my desk anymore, but there's studies that research facilities have done where, women are very, very adapt to mate switching. The whole war bride notion that I also talked about in the book too, right? War brides have been studied for a long time. It's a common phenomenon, but men don't have that capability. We're not evolved to deal with that as well as women are. So long and short of it is, it's going to happen. You're going to have to suck it up.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
I mean, I can try to unplug the hell out of you and red pill you till the sun goes down and comes up tomorrow. But at the end of it all, if you don't, if you haven't gone through the reps, if you haven't gone through the chaos, if you haven't dealt with it, if you haven't seen female nature for what it truly is once, twice, 3 times, then you're gonna have a hard time dealing with it, right? So it's just a matter of time. How old are you right now?
21.
All right, I'll let you get back to work, but I'll keep talking. I mean, like, you can watch the rest of it, but it's just one of those things that you have to adjust to.
Okay.
All right, man.
Well, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's like there's no quick and easy solution, guys. It's just like, women are gonna betray you. It's it's a fact of life. It's just gonna happen. You're gonna be shocked to realize that she's not sugar and spice and all things nice. And just because you say I love you, that she's always going to love you and that she's always going to be loyal to you. So you will be betrayed, and that's just part of being a man. Some guys it happens to more often than other guys. Other guys, for the rare ones, it doesn't happen to that much at all. So it is what it is. I mean, understanding female nature is one thing, but understanding it and kind of setting aside feelings is a different thing altogether. But when it happens to you a few times and you understand it and you get used to it, you move through it a lot faster and it's less of a problem for you. So if that makes sense. Let me get the super here. Carrie says, have Eastern EU fiance, Eastern Europe. So I'm guessing like Slovakia, like, that part, maybe like Ukraine or something like that. Amazing people, but when around other high value couples or men in public, I notice the fiance seems to vibe differently. She postures a bit more and doesn't seem present. She seems more in her head. Insight. That, my friend, is hypergamy. You put like, Eastern European women are beautiful. They are women on hard mode, if I'm being honest. I had a thing in my 20s for Eastern European women. I mean, how can I put it? Beautiful, fun, but they are hypergamy turbocharged. I'll put it that way. If you're not on your game, if you're not competent, they have very little wiggle room for mistakes. They don't have a lot of tolerance for bullshit. Very, very hardcore people. I think it's probably from like decades of socialism and communism. I remember there was a guy that was once telling me that they're a very sad people, was what he said. Something along that lines. And not to say that they're like unhappy or sad, but it's just like if something better comes up or looks good, in contrast, then they're always kind of like weighing out that option, right? So that's probably what's happening in your situation, Carrie. But like, it is what it is. It's it's the whole chase excellence sort of thing. And by the way, I've heard some people take my chase excellence, not women, out of context. Let me spend a second on that. When I say chase excellence, not women, I'm not just saying go make a lot of money and be successful and just ignore unplugging and the red pill. Hi, I wrote the fucking book on it. Okay, dude. I mean, it's always hilarious to me when people try to use my concepts and then they flip them around and they try to make you look like a douche. But the fact of the matter is chasing excellence means chasing excellence in all areas of your life. Being physically masculine, having strong frame, understanding how to game women, being competent, being captivating, meaning you're not boring, knowing how to make it rain and know how to make money. That's what chase excellence means. It just doesn't mean go get a degree and go work somewhere and make a lot of money and just ignore all those things and hope that women are just going to like chase you down. It doesn't work that way. There's many pieces to that puzzle. I'm surprised I have to clarify so many things, but it is what it is. All right, let's see what we got. Alan in the house and Ryan and Pete. So guys, if you have a question, hit the Q&A link up at the top and we'll hop on and chop it up. What's up, Alan?
Yeah, what's going on, Rich? How you doing, brother?
I don't know what's up with your mic, dude. It's popping.
It's popping. That's not good.
I don't know if you want to turn down the gain or something like that, but it sounds like it's popping.
Let's turn down. How did it sound now?
A little bit better.
A little bit better?
Yeah, but now you're low.
Okay.
Anyway, try that. We'll try to work with it. What do you got for me, bro?
Yeah, man. So I just got a possible solution in regards to this whole situation with marriage, right? And I say this solution is going to be tough for most men, but the way I see it for marriage is it's more of an emotional thing instead of a logical thing, right? And, you can go through all the reasons why. I mean, like you go through the book as well. The Unplugged Alpha is a great book, by the way. But if you kind of think about, like, if men get into a marriage with women and they get to a point where they're going to become divorced, then because you have the state involved, then the men are going to be more at a disadvantage, right? So,
I gotta stop you for a sec, Alan, because your mic's not good and people in the live chat are commenting on it. Can I get you to get like right to the point so I can sort of feedback on it?
Yeah, no problem. So I would say that the solution should be for men to not get married, right? I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, if men going to continue to line themselves up to go into the slaughterhouse, then this whole cycle is just going to continue, right?
Gotcha.
And yeah, and the idea is simply is that if men can understand, and they don't have to, like, why do men have to go through the process of, a bad divorce and a bad relationship?
Yeah, we're on the same page. I'm just going to stop you and pull you out because the microphone's like sounding awful. So let me just pull you out. I know you're in the waiting area so that you can listen, but I'll just comment on that. That's basically what I concluded in my book. And there's a chapter in my book on why smart men don't marry for that reason. I'm not saying don't have kids. I'm not saying don't involve yourself with a woman. What I'm saying is don't live in such a way that you expose yourself unnecessarily to the state imposing its beliefs and will on you and what happens to your wealth. Some guys don't care. Some guys will just say, you know what? It's my religion. It's my culture. My family wants it. I understand everything that you're saying, Rich, and I agree. I am going to march into the slaughterhouse with my eyes wide open, and I know what I'm getting into. And I'm okay with giving up half my shit. I've had guys, like on calls that are 7-8 figure dudes. Like if you're worth 40-50 million dollars and you have to give away 25 of that, you still got $25 million. You're easily turning what you've got plus whatever you've got going on in your business, and you'll be fine 10, 12 years, 15 years down the road. You'll be just fine. You'll be wealthier than what you were when you started. There's absolutely no question about it. But for the average guy out there, the salary guy that went to university, has a piece of paper on the wall framed in mahogany with little letters after his name, and he's an engineer, a scientist, he's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's making decent money. And he's probably got some student loan debt. It's not a wise path, if we can just put it that way. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, get my book if you haven't read it and dive into the chapter on red flags, or sorry, not the red flags, on marriage, so that you get your head wrapped around the said slaughterhouse that you walk into. Let's see here. Sam says, what are your thoughts on a bachelor tax? So let's just assume that there is a bachelor tax in Parliament being discussed into legislation. What would they tax you for? They would charge you more money for not getting married. Like, I'm already at the top of the income scale. I'm already paying the top tax rate. I already pay taxes on fuel that I drive in my fast cars. I already pay taxes on everything else out there, property taxes, tax on this, tax on that. There's a tax on a tax sometimes. you're paying taxes all the way. So it's like, look, if you live in a country where you're going to be a bachelor and you don't plan on getting married and the tax rate is atrocious if you're a bachelor, just leave, move, don't stay. Go to where you're going to be treated far better. It's not that complex in my view anyway. Vinicus says, come to Brazil and marry here. We have 3 types of marriage. One is total separation of assets. And if you take 50% custody, not difficult, you don't pay child support. It's pretty much the same thing here. You don't pay child support if you've got shared custody, if you make about the same amount of money. Now, I don't know what it's like in Brazil, but if one person, let's say the husband makes $200,000 a year and the wife makes $50,000 a year, then there's an equalization payment, right, for the custody, even if you are 50-50. But it is what it is. I mean, like, you'd want your kids to be taken care of, I would imagine, just not in such a way where you get raped. And now, what I mean by that is if it typically costs, I don't know, $750 a month for food, clothing, extracurriculars, but the tax tables say you have to pay $4,000 a month. That's basically a bachelor tax. That's basically a form of taxation. And, that's how most places work, unfortunately. You're not going to change that. Let's see what Brandon's got for us here in the house. He's in the waiting area. All right, brother, what's up?
Oh, thanks for having me, man. Long time watcher. I'm glad to be here. So basically, my question really doesn't revolve necessarily around the question that you brought up in the discussion tonight, which I do find interesting. But I recently made a career change into sales after working as an engineer out of college for the last 7 months. In the last 2 months, I've made like 40,000 in sales, which is like really, really great for me. And I'm excited about that. And I moved back to my parents' house just to have that job kind of in the area that I live. I'm just kind of wondering, because once I get to that point where I want to move out of this current area that I'm in, my parents' house, and I kind of wonder, should I be looking to rent out a place and keep stacking up money to maybe invest, or should I be looking to invest in rental properties in the current market? I just don't know a lot of people.
Where do you live?
I live outside of Philadelphia.
So if you're in a hot housing market where people are moving to, where there's immigration, like Texas, for example, that's a good place to, acquire doors and real estate. Same thing with Florida, right? Like, there's people migrating from shit states to better states. There's even people migrating from Canada to some of the states as well. So, yeah. I mean, if you can find yourself in a scenario where you're in a state where there's mass migration and there's year-over-year growth. Like, I was talking to a buddy of mine who does real estate in Texas. He has a book actually on Amazon on the subject today, and he said that the growth is 20% year over year. Right, like, that's huge. That's insane. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're in a market like that, then I would say, yeah, definitely, get some doors and start renting them out. And, you're making the money, set yourself up. Just make sure you don't lose it to a chick because you make a bad decision later on down the road, a few years down the road, because she touches your pee-pee and she smells nice, right?
Oh, that's no, definitely not making those mistakes. I haven't had the misfortune of having that happen before, and definitely willing to learn from other mistakes and not give away my money. But yeah, I guess that's kind of my question: just how to leverage money effectively. Just a lot of my age are in that slave mindset of just get a job and keep grinding. And
how old are you, man?
23.
Yeah, get out of your parents' house.
Yeah, I don't want to be here. I plan to leave at August, the latest, maybe even sooner.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
Yeah.
Best thing you'll ever do in your early 20s is get your own place, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Do it. All right?
Appreciate it, man.
See you, man. Yeah, as long as you have money and you can take care of yourself. And you know what? Like, even if you can't, get a roommate. Like, honestly, like, have a cool friend move in. Have an awesome roommate. Just get your own place. Like, like, there's very few cases where I would, suggest staying with your parents when you're a young man, right? Greg, let me grab your super chat here. Question regarding how to unnumb yourself and be optimistic to someone who is truly a good partner. Ideally, super chat will be easier for me to explain. So you're in the house. What's up, Yasu Tikanis?
Yeah. Hey. So I've been married, divorced. I've dated around. Dated younger girls. The stressful red flags that kind of go with it, and more recently, I'm 36. I'm dating, a nice girl closer to my age. Stable, mentally connected, but it doesn't necessarily have the same thrills, I guess, that kind of come, that have come with my prior relationships with the younger ones. So I'm trying, at my age, who's been around the block in some aspects or another, what's to be expected of myself in the mental state, of not having the thrills of dating a 26-year-old, right? And more of the consistency of dating somebody older, more mature, and more stable with no
How old
red
is she?
flag. The girl I've been seeing recently she's 34. So
How old did you say you were again, Greg?
36.
Okay.
And I'm at a point in my life where I'm looking for stability. I mean, I'm looking,
What do you mean by stability? Like, what do you like?
I'm not looking for the weekend drama. The girlfriends, the club scene. A nice companion to travel with. I'm not pressed to get married or have kids anytime soon, but a peace, just peace.
How long you been dating this one?
4 months now.
Okay. And she got any kids?
No kids. And she was engaged, broke it off back in October, moved home to her parents' house. So at some point she's going to be looking to buy her own place or, push the ball a little quicker into moving into my home, which I'm reluctant.
Has she talked about children to you?
She has, yeah. It's definitely something that she's not hard pressed to do it. She understands ideally to date a year or so or more before that is, she's honestly she's very understanding.
Well, she's accommodating right now.
Right.
She's understanding right now. But that might change, right? I mean, like the thing at 34 is she's getting close to the end of her, fertility years, right? And you don't want to be an old father. Like you don't want to be having a kid when you're in your 40s or 50s because you're going to have no energy to deal with it, right? I mean, you're basically going to need a young chick to do all the child rearing, and you're just going to be like the 20-minute dad that rolls around the floor and plays with him, when he's 3, when he's like, play with me, daddy, play with me. And you're like out of gas in like 25 minutes. Okay. I know what that's like because I just visited my brother over the weekend and I got 2 nephews and I'm playing with one of them. And it's like after 25 minutes, I'm like, dude, I'm done.
I've got nieces and nephews, man. I know exactly
right?
where you're coming from.
So I mean, like you're dealing with a chick that's like pretty much at the end of a reproductive cycle. And, she's going to be wondering like, okay, if I'm going to have kids, we got to do it now. And you're 36, you're about the same age that I was when I had my kid. So, your notion of like traveling around and having a companion, dude, if I'm being honest, a younger chick would be better for that, or a dog would be better for that, honestly. But like at some point,
the gray hair I've gotten over the years has been from the younger girls.
Why do they stress you out?
It's just a different. You work, you date them along the way. They start to mature. It's like a double-edged sword. You're out having fun with them one weekend, and then Monday through Friday, you're trying to focus on work while they still want to go out and have fun.
Dude, there's lots of younger women that don't want to go out partying.
I live in South Florida. I mean, Fort Lauderdale, Miami.
You're not finding any there?
It's just there's a very big difference between the way the 26 to 28
Are these like the same kind of like ratchet hoes you see on like Fresh and Fit where they're like 5s that think that they're 9s?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of good-looking girls here, but whether you're 20, the girls here are 24 all the way until they're 31, 32.
Here's what I would say. It's okay. Yeah, they're going to stress you out if you let them, right? If you have strong frame and you're just like, no, I don't deal with that. No, I'm not doing that. No, I don't deal with that. Stop it, or the door's over there. Like you're going to have a bunch of them that are going to walk in you because they think they're hot shit, right? And that you're cold diarrhea when you start having these conversations. They're going to push back and they're going to test your frame and all that sort of stuff. You got this older one now that's like, she's kind of burnt out. She's like, partied. She was engaged. That didn't work out. She moved back home. Of course, she's going to be more compliant right now. I mean, she's going to be a little bit more agreeable than the other ones. But, I mean, for what you're looking for, like you're looking for a companion, like you're saying, like you don't want kids.
Yeah, I'm looking for a peace of mind. Someone that, we live by the beach here. She's up for a good Saturday, Sunday out by the. I mean, she's fun to be with on the weekends. It's just I don't have that same enthusiasm hanging out with her as I do the younger ones, but at my
She's like, Greg, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. At some point in the next maybe few weeks, maybe a couple of months, she's going to be like, look, I was engaged. I want to have kids. All my girlfriends are having kids. My ex is drying up. I got to do this. You know, like, where are we going? Like, where do we stand? Sort of thing. And then your whole, oh, she's a compliant, you know, companion goes out the window. And then you're going to be forced to make the choice. Okay, well, do I break up with her and go back to a younger chick that's going to be cool with the whole travel companion thing? Or do I fold and marry this chick and start putting babies in her?
Well, that's why I got divorced the last time. Or 4 years ago, I got divorced over the want for a kid in that immediate moment, which I said no. And here I am today.
Yeah.
So.
Do you want to have kids?
That's kind of honestly, I don't really know. I really.
You're not excited about it?
No, I like the selfishness that kind of goes with not having kids.
You're probably better off dating a younger chick then. And just putting some solid frame around her. Like Mops in the chat, and he said something about, you know, it's a frame issue, don't buy it. And you know, when you get these like chicks that push back and they want to party, they want to do this, and then it's like, no, I don't do that. You know, if that's what you want to do, then go, right? I don't do that. Just spin a bunch of plates until you find a younger chick that gives you what you want, right? The whole mental point of origin concept is like, I've identified this is what I want to do, this is how I want to live my life, and this is where we're going to go for the next, you know, few years. Date a bunch of chicks. Wait till one of them's like, Greg, where do we stand? I really, you know, dig your vibe. Let them know where you stand, and then make sure that they're, you know, well within your frame and they follow your lead, right?
Yeah, I think, you know, to that a lot of it's just differentiate, you know, just not feeling antagonized to go, you know, hang out on a Thursday or a Sunday.
Dude, you should join my community. You'd be a good fit. There's a lot of good guys in there around your age that are kind of at the same spot. And, you know, a lot of the stuff that you're talking about, you can do with bros, which in my opinion is a very good way to do it.
I mean, and to the respect, you know, the people on here have mentioned things about real estate. I own a bunch of commercial warehouses here in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, that were all just opportunities that I came into along the way. And anyone that, you know, real estate is certainly one of the best things that I could advise somebody to invest their time in.
Yeah, well, you're in a great market for it too, right?
Yeah, it won't slow down here for a little bit. But I appreciate your time, man. I'm going to.
All right, bud.
Suck it up.
Thanks. All right. Yeah, it's like, you know, I found a nice one that's compliant. I just want to get her to travel with me and do fun shit, but not have kids. It's like, look, don't listen to me. Try, but come back, Greg, and like, you know, that 6 to 8, maybe 10 weeks when she starts like really pressing you, and she's like, look, I've already lost 3 more eggs in the time that I've been dating you. So where are we going with this? Come back then. You know, we'll chop it up a little bit more. But yeah, you should. Yeah, we have guys in. Mobster. So get in the community. So let me grab the banner there. You can get it over there. There's different tiers. Just go to the link, you know, below. It'll be pinned in the top comment if you're watching a replay. But check it out so you get your head around it. Comply, get it down. All right, let's see what else we got here. We got Kelly in the house. Let's give Kelly a shot here. Kelly, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, Rich? How you doing, man?
Good. What do you got for me tonight?
So I had more of a kind of like the guy before the last. I had a career question too.
Okay.
I'm kind of at a crossroads. I've been working as an RN for the last 3 years at this hospital, and I've really liked it, but I've been on night shift. So last week I texted my manager, told her I was looking at other departments in the hospital for a day shift position, and she had texted back that she didn't really want me to leave and that she'd like me to be the assistant manager. I would stay on the same shift. I'd still be on night shift, but I'd be making probably a lot more money than I would be switching to the day shift and restarting over. My end game is probably to be more like a nurse practitioner, a higher healthcare professional. So I didn't know if maybe I should just, since I'm still young, kind of tough it out on the night shift and make that extra money and get the manager experience. I just turned 26.
Okay, so you want to be a nurse practitioner?
Yes.
Do you have the degree for that?
I will go back to school for it. So not yet. I'd have to reapply for school.
Can you earn it in this new role?
Yes.
Okay, so you can earn it. It's like a working role where you can work towards that degree.
Yes.
Okay. So what's stopping
I
you
would
from
have to
taking
go
it?
back
Like,
for
why are you
my
hesitant?
master's regardless.
So what's stopping you? So why are you hesitant?
Well, it's a quality of life thing. Like, I wanted to go to day shift because I've been into running. I've been doing mini marathons, and I was at a point to where I was like, I'd like to focus on my fitness too a little bit more, and I thought maybe going to day shift would give me a better.
Yeah, Mary, you don't have any kids, so what's stopping you from doing your fitness now?
Oh, just just the time constraints. Like, being on night shift, it's hard to turn back over to days, and
Well, let's just be honest about something here, right? Like working night shifts, working shifts into the evenings is not how human beings are designed to operate.
I know that.
Yeah, so I mean every day, every week, every month, every year that you're working those night shifts, like you're probably taking years off your life and also changing the quality of your life as well.
Yep.
Right? We're designed to follow a circadian rhythm, fall asleep at a certain time, get up at a certain time, obviously when it's dark, and you get the blue light in your eyes in the morning and all that sort of stuff. Go watch Andrew Huberman's podcast talking about sleep and all that stuff.
I love Andrew Huberman. He's good.
Look, dude, like in my view, like setting yourself up where you're always working night shifts, or an environment where you're prolonging that, and you're torturing your body in a sense, I'd say it's not worth it, in the long haul. So I'm just saying that as an older dude talking to a younger guy.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, if you have other opportunities that, you haven't entertained, what else is out there that you can look at? I mean, if you want to be a nurse practitioner, be a nurse. I got a buddy of mine. Both him and his wife are nurse practitioners. They make good money. They make really good money. They have autonomy. They run their own businesses. So I don't know what it's like where you live, but I mean, here it's a pretty solid gig, and the flexibility is awesome. He does house calls, just get yourself to that point, because I'll tell you this, man, like time flies.
Yep.
Right. I'm like, before you know it, you're gonna be 40, 45. You're gonna be like, where'd all time going? It's like it flew. Right.
For sure, man.
All right.
I appreciate it. I like the book too.
Thanks, man.
I did Audible because I don't really sit around and read, but it's good stuff.
Yeah, me too, man. I just listen to books. That's my gig as well. Thanks, brother. Guys, yeah, if you've read the book or you've listened to it, do me a solid and just go on Amazon and leave a quick review. Just give it the 5 stars and let other dudes know what value you've got out of it, because there's always some toxic feminists that come in there and drop some nonsense, of course. Got another, there it is, a psychologist with no degree. A friend of mine just found out yesterday that his wife slept with her ex-husband the night before their wedding. And he's in a mental breakdown now. What's your advice to him? Leave her. I'm assuming that they just got married, so they can probably annul the marriage. Leave her. There's absolutely no room for betrayal from a woman. Absolutely not. And it's none of this like, good for the goose, good for the gander stuff. Men and women are different. Women betray, men cheat. The fact that she did that on the wedding night, which by the way isn't that uncommon, guys. I've had, I think on the Before the Trainwreck series, there was a male stripper that hit me up, and we did a show together, and he was telling me all the stories of the bachelorette parties that he was at and what went on. It's not what you think. I mean, for the most part, look, I'm sure a good chunk of them are probably fairly innocent and just a bunch of drinks with super, tiaras and ribbons and stuff like that. But there's also a lot of shenanigans that go on in those evenings. And in this case, I don't even know if she had a bachelorette party. He didn't mention here, but obviously she betrayed his trust, and that's it. It's over. Get lost, annul the marriage, and move on. You don't forgive those things, when it comes to women. It's a full-on betrayal. When women go outside of the relationship, it's because they're not serious about you. They don't see you as the best option. So the fact that she porked her ex-husband tells me that she was probably alpha widowed by that guy and wishes that she was probably still with him. Maybe he left her, I don't know, but it tells me that she's not long-term type of material. Tell her to get lost, pack her bags, But again, most guys will do nothing. They'll just, oh, okay, well, I guess it was just a mistake then, Barbara, so we'll just let it go, but it can't happen again. That's what most guys will do, right? That's what the plugged-in betas do. Hit the like button, says Ryan. And what else we got here? Anthony. We got young Anthony here. Anthony looks like a young man. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what up, Rich?
How old are you?
What's up, man? So, I'm a 15-year-old tuning in, but I got a couple
15,
questions. So,
okay.
hey, man, I want to know. I heard on a couple videos back you were touching on your experiences in martial arts.
Yeah.
I think you went into the world of like Krav Maga and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I'm picking up starting with a really experienced dude, and he prompted me to go into the world of striking. I just want to know if you had any experience in that. What's your thoughts around it, dude?
That's all I do now is just boxing.
Yeah, that's what I'm into right now.
Look, Krav is good for dealing with knife attacks, gun disarms, any number of things. They're very fast and effective and swift movements, but it's going to take you years to get good at it. Like I did probably a year, maybe 10, 11 months of Krav, and I enjoyed it. But the thing that I was missing when I was doing it was like, I want to know how to knock somebody the fuck out.
For
right?
sure.
So like doing some damage to somebody's body feels a lot better than going through like knife disarms and gun disarms, movements. I'm sure I could still, remember them and go through most of them. But I like the exercise. I like the cardio, training. I like the striking exercises. It just feels good. So that's my take on it. But I always tell guys to try out a bunch of stuff and then just do whatever you want, man. Like if you like rolling, you want to do jiu-jitsu, you like Muay Thai, you like kickboxing, just do whatever you like. But one of the things that I think that every guy should at least get into for a bit is, some striking skills. You have to know how to punch.
That's a fundamental, man. So for me, in a couple months, I'm starting this internship. It's big for me because these are the biggest developers in my city. They're actually getting this $80 million office building done. Biggest one, first 12-story in my city. So I want to know how I can really put myself in a position to extract as much knowledge as possible because these are people who I view as resources. And I feel like it's up to me to capitalize off the situation. And these are all extremely knowledgeable and successful people in their own right. And in the world of real estate, something, I could definitely have a passion towards and something I've shown passion towards in the past.
Just show up. Don't talk that much. Shut up and listen and ask questions and be useful.
Be useful.
That's it.
For sure.
Like they're going to get you to do bitch jobs. Like, go make me a sandwich, grab me a coffee, drop this off over here, whatever, like do them, but lean into any opportunities that, you can find where it's like, look, like most guys that are successful, when they see an ambitious kid, they want to send the elevator back down to bring up the next guy. Right. So do the work, under promise and over deliver in everything that you do. And you're probably not going to get paid much. You're probably not going to get treated very well sometimes, but you're 15.
Yeah.
Like you can't expect to hop into something and be making bank or for to have everybody respect you, right? Like just put in the reps, do the time, exactly like I said, just follow that advice.
So I'm 100% down to do that. I just want to know if you think it changes the dynamic at all, since the number one and the number two at that team are actually close family.
They'll probably be harder on you then.
Yeah.
Usually, if they're good family, then they'll probably be harder on you.
They're great. They're great for sure. I just want to know a couple things. Messing around with the female dynamic at my age, I tend to date upwards.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you mentioned a lot of things about shit tests, and for me, it's absolutely vital that I'm holding my frame because that's not something I'm willing to let up. So I just want to know, what these shit tests are about and how, pillars in my life that I can stand by to hold my frame.
How tall are you, man?
I'm 6'3".
And what do you weigh?
About 210.
Okay, so you're in pretty good shape?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, so you got that part taken care of. As far as the shit tests are just competency tests. I don't want to go there, Anthony. I want to go here. I don't want you to pick me up at 7, or I don't want to meet you at 7. I want to meet you at 7:30. Right? I don't know if you heard the ghosting segment, you know, the chick with the graph chart, you know, jotting everything down.
Sure.
You know, like, it has to be her way sort of thing. It's
Yeah.
like all that frame component is, like, all that shit test is that she's doing, like, she's basically following your lead, right? And the easiest way to start with that is just monitor your messaging back and forth, right? Like, look at the message thread back and forth that you're dealing with stuff when it comes to frame and shit tests and stuff like that, and ask yourself, am I in her frame or is she in my frame? And it should be obvious to you.
I think that, you know, as a masculine figure, I've got to be not only the provider but the main frame. Apart from that, I strive to achieve competency, like physically.
I'm gonna stop you, Anthony, because your microphone sucks and people are complaining about it in the chat.
That's my bad, bro. Shit's been leaning. But I just
No, it's still popping. It's still popping.
For real? All right,
it's
bro.
still popping. I'm gonna let you go, guys. Make sure you get your audio sorted out. I mean, I don't know, check it out with somebody or a friend or something like that. But it just makes the show go like shit when you do stuff like that. Oh, it looks like I got Glenn in the house. What's up, buddy? I haven't seen you in a while.
I know, man. I've been busy working, making movies and stuff.
You got a beard and everything now.
Yeah, letting it grow. Actually, I'm in Kansas right now, flipping this house that we got. But here's my question to you. So I was in this debate with this guy named Playing with Fire.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And what I've noticed a lot in this space, I don't even want to call it a manosphere anymore because it seems like it's not that.
It's the Mano swamp now.
Yeah, exactly. And so my question to you is, are we in this space, are we attacking each other more than we are being able to help men? Because I've noticed a lot of content creators, and I've noticed that you kind of fell off, not necessarily fell off, but you kind of distanced yourself from a lot of people now.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot because of that.
That's a big part of it, yeah.
How would you navigate collaborating then?
You don't.
Okay.
I don't need to.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's no upside to it dealing with people like that.
Yeah.
So I just distance myself. Like, come hang out with us, do this show, go to this event, do this conference. I'm good. No, I'm good on my own. Thank you very much for asking. Nice to talk to you, but I'm fine. Thank you.
Now, here's another question. Here's a lighter question. So who won that boxing match between you and Paul?
You know what? Paul is a formidable combatant for sure. I mean, if he has a weapon or a knife, he will fuck you up big time.
Did you have the reach?
I had the reach. He doesn't have the reach. I got a few shots in. He got a few shots in. I would call it a draw. I'm sure he would probably agree that it was probably a draw.
Yeah, because when I had met up with him at MLD's thing in San Diego, I was kind of expect him to be a little taller.
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
Yeah, I like Paul. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Just so you know, that I think I sent you the script that I worked on for Mind Dates. It's like a red pill comedy dating app movie. Mm-hmm. Mainly, it's about guys having frame. So I will send you the revisions if I haven't sent them to you yet, just for you to look over and kind of just take a glance at. I'm trying to bring a lot of the good content creators on there. I've connected with Savo, and me and him are working on some things together.
Who's Savo?
Kevin Savo.
Oh, that's Rollo's friend. Yeah.
Yeah. Working with him on his season 2 of his show. So I'm going to be working with him on that. But I wanted you to read it over because I took a lot of the Unplugged Alpha material and the 9 Iron Rules from Rollo and kind of like meshed them up in between my own interpretation of them to kind of put it out there in a comedy.
So I'll say this. So semi-interested, not really, just because of the Mano Swamp. But if it makes sense for me, then I'll then I'll talk to you. But I just have no time right now to read scripts or anything like that. Like I'm swamped with what I got going on.
No worries. No worries. I understand.
Open to it if you have like a quick, presentation that, you can hit me up. We'll talk for like 5-10 minutes offline and
I'll send you a trailer when I have it all like packaged together. So you have a pitch deck for you.
Okay, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right. See you, brother.
Bye.
All right. Oh, we got Jenna back in the house. We haven't talked to her in a few months. Jenna, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So I have a bit of an interesting question.
All right, what's on your mind?
So this one might be a little contentious, but I really want your opinion on this.
All right.
So I've been putting together, like I've been talking with some of my girlfriends. Some of them are older, they're in their 40s. Some of them are younger, so they're in their like mid 20s. And what I'm noticing is more and more, they're just turning away from even getting into relationships. They're not interested in dating. They're not even interested. Some of them are actually not even interested in men anymore. So they're kind of going the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are just kind of going, you know what? I can't be bothered with this. I just want to travel and I'll get a dog.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when I started looking at some of the content that was online, I started kind of noticing that the conversations were more, not that you do it, but more about either bashing women or criticizing women or talking about how fat women are, which I do believe is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't a lot of talk about romance. There wasn't a lot of talk about how to be an interesting person, how to be sexually seductive to a woman, how to be appealing to a woman, how to actually have relationships. And when I tried talking to a guy friend of mine who said he wanted to get better at having relationships with women, and I tried to give him some pointers, said men don't need advice from women about women. So what my question is, if men don't need advice from women about how to deal with women and what women like and what actually turns women on, and they can only get that advice from men, and women can only get advice on men from other men because advice from other women is not valid, where exactly are women in the conversation when it comes to heterosexual relationships between men and women?
You've said a lot of things and you've asked quite a few questions in that statement. Look, so let's start with this. So why are your friends not wanting to date guys? You said they're somewhere in their 20s and early 30s?
Some go as late as into their mid 40s, and they're all, with the exception of one or two that are kind of the blue-haired, whatever people. They are smoke shows because we all kind of have the same lifestyle: Pilates, exercising, boxing. We're very much, we like our looks, right? So,
are they career women or like boss girls?
They're not really boss girls. They're boss. Here's the thing: they're boss girls because they have to be. They're boss girls because the men aren't stepping up to the challenge. So, for example,
so let me just stop you for a sec. So you're saying men aren't stepping up to the challenge in one breath, but in a prior breath, you're also saying that, these guys aren't romantic or they don't know how to, like romance women, sort of thing. And it's like, I have a problem with that because guys that subscribe to like the soulmate myth and like the whole Lance romance stuff, like I'll tell you, like when I went out on my first date with my first girlfriend, I can't remember if somebody told me this or I saw it in some stupid magazine that somebody handed me, but it was like, at the start of the date, you got to give her this color flower. And at the end of the date, you got to give her this flower. And it means this, that, and the other thing. And we've all tried that stuff. Well, not we've all, but I'm just kind of, speaking for myself. But the guys that are in my tribe, the guys that get it, the guys that have like plentiful access and are the mate selectors when it comes to dating, they get it and they know that stuff doesn't work. And they know that the stuff that I talk about does work. And it's not like we're ice cold or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you were to ask my chick, she would say none of those things. But it's just having a solid leadership frame. And the problem that a lot of women have today, these women that are like, they have to be boss girls in their career to do what they're doing and they don't want to deal with men, is that they're not able or willing to enter a man's frame and comply.
That
right?
may I just I do disagree with that. We all kind of have very traditional values, and when I say we all just kind of work because we have to, it's just because we're girls. We like certain kinds of shoes. We like eating at certain restaurants. So you have
Got
to
it, yeah.
work to maintain that. Just a personal standard. What we're finding is a lot of the guys, like even when you go on dates with these guys, and a lot of the guys are coming from the internet, they can't form sentences. They can't have basic conversation. A lot of them don't read. A lot of them have no interest, no hobbies, don't go to the gym. If they do go to the gym, that's literally all they do.
So why are they going out with them then?
Well,
they're basically going out with losers.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it gets to the point where you don't really realize that these people are like that until you kind of go on the first date, or even after the first conversation, you're like, okay, might be something here. But what is happening more and more is that there seems to be this kind of contentiousness when it comes to pleasing and satisfying the other person. And I'm seeing it more on the men's side. Men seem to think that every single woman is out to get them. If you're pretty, then you obviously don't have any money. You are trying to take advantage of him, so you don't have anything of your own.
What city do you and your friends live in?
We're in your city.
Oh, Toronto. Well, Toronto's a big ass city, and there's a lot of weird ass people in there. I'll be honest with you. I did a lot of dating down there. Look, here's what I'm seeing a lot of, right? From the guy's perspective, and Moff just hit on it in the chat. You can blame feminism for pretty much all of that. Is that women have been told to go and chase the degree. They don't need no man. Go and work, and then they hear all these songs about being a hashtag boss girl and bad bitch and all that kind of stuff. And let's be honest, Jenna. You get together with them, and they're like, "Yeah, I want bad bitch," and all that sort of thing. And it's like, we don't need no man. So it's like, okay, well, when you start from that position, then. Even I, with the game that I have, dealing with a chick like that on a date, if I were to tell her, something like, I don't know, I'll meet you at 8:00 at this place, and she's like, oh, well, that's too far, or I'm not going to go there, or why not on this date? And then she starts giving me a hard time. I have zero patience for any of that. It's like, no, that's what that's what we're doing, and you're going to be there, and when you show up, you're going to wear that black dress I told you to from that picture. Right? And I want you to wiggle a little bit when you walk in too, right? So you kind of play with them a little bit, you kind of tease them a little bit, but you make sure that they're following your lead. And what you'll find with a lot of these women, or guys find, guys like me anyway, is they'll find that they don't want to comply. They want a strong masculine dude. And you called in months ago and we were talking about Yellowstone, like the Caseys and the Rips, right? Like you and your girlfriends probably watch a show and you probably drool over Casey and Rip, right? Right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so when a guy like Rip shows up and it's like, this is what we're doing, and and it's going to happen on this date, and we're going to do it on this, and it's like da-da-da sort of thing, they don't even want to comply with that. So they say that they want that, but they won't work with it.
That right? I do disagree, because I have actually dated men like Rip. The only reason that the relationship didn't work out is just because of distance. We ended up moving apart. But men like that, when you are...
I see the women that you're talking about, Jenna, though. I've dated them. I see them when I go out, and these chicks are like, they think that they're the bomb. They're 30s, 40s, whatever. They work out, they do yoga, Pilates, exactly like, you described, right? And they're jacked. They got shoulders and abs and all this sort of stuff. But do they know how to cook? Do they know how to please a guy? Do they know how to be pleasant and agreeable?
Yes. This isn't just about in all honesty.
Then the problem is that they're picking losers is what it boils down to.
Okay.
I mean, if they're hanging out with guys that don't know how to conversation or haven't read a book in 10 years or something like that, then they're picking losers, right? Don't date losers. It's as simple as that. Oh, I want to date the good looking guy then, but he's going to cheat on me. Oh, well, what are you going to do? A guy with options might happen to have a couple of plates spinning right now too.
And then are you guys okay with the women having options as well?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
What's good for the goose is not good for the gander. If she's going to date me and then she's like, hey, Rich, where do we stand? I really dig your vibe, blah, 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 and all that sort of stuff. Cool. But we're not going to poison the well. You need to be exclusive. Whether I choose to be exclusive to her or not is entirely up to me at that time. Monogamy is a choice for men, and it cannot be enforced on them, right? So in some cases, some of these, bad bitches that are all like, oh, I can't just find a guy and I'm just going to switch over to the other side and deal with girls or get a dog or whatever, like that's their solution. Then look, guys that are high value, that are top shelf, that are willing to be monogamous, that choose it, with a good girl, you better treat him like a god. I'm telling you right now, because guys like that are rare.
Oh my gosh. I honestly wish that I could have this conversation a little longer. I know I have to go, but it's the reality that I'm seeing is very, very different.
Okay. I'll tell you what, send me an email and let's set up a Unplugged Alpha show where you and your girlfriends hop on with me. And I'll give you guys that time. All right.
I wonder if Bethany would be up for that. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right. Great.
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Talk to you. Bye. All right. And Moff and Jaren are on after the show. So if you guys want to hop on with them, you can come on to stereo. Yeah. Like, listen, I get this from, where is it? I just triggered the whole internet. Yeah. I get this from, women all the time, like, oh, it's this and that, da-da-da. It's like, all right, look, let's get on a longer form call and let's dive right into all of it, right? But for now, we're going to wrap up. We've done the 90 minutes. We got Moff on stereo with Jaren, so just download the app. You can hop on with him. Apologies to the guys in the waiting area, but again, if you have a question live, get in the show early, guys, and make sure you got your notifications on so that you don't miss the opportunity to hop in the Q&A. You can always do a private consult with me. I know my rate isn't bargain basement, but that's the area that I deal in. So if you want to do a free sesh, hop on one of the live shows, come in early, or you can book me privately. The link will be pinned below. What do we got going on this week? Got a few things to release. I'm going to probably do a solo show on Playing to Win on Thursday. But yeah, follow up with Moff and Jaren, and I hope you guys have an awesome night. So it's going to